kind of busy. You know how that goes. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and read the next two chapters of my book because that's what I owe you guys. So I'm gonna read chapter 4 and 5. Might get up to 6, just in case I don't get on this week. So here we go. This book is called Journey to Freedom. Chapter 4 starts off with a quote: "I'm perfect in my imperfections, happy in my pain, strong in my weaknesses, and beautiful in my own way because I'm me." And that was written by an unknown person. Where we last off, where we last left off was my character was just broken out of the prison camp, and he was being taken away by his brother. So chapter 4 starts like this: "As we ride down the road, I see the sunrise. It feels good to know that I have another day to live. At times, I'm at a lock between believing if there's a God or not. I can't wait to get home, take a hot bath, rest out my body because it's going to be a long road before we get to the end of this war. I laugh at myself because I didn't learn to ride a motorcycle until the age of 30. I always wanted to learn, but I was just too scared, I guess. As I ride for about an hour, more or less, I hold on to my brother. I just watch as I see where we are on the road. I can see the town up ahead, but we usually go on the ground from anyone ever finding us. We ride into this medium-sized town called Del Rio, Texas, and we go straight to where the storages of the rent. For years, we use this road because it's hard to travel between the United States and Mexico. They ask too many questions and for too many legal documents. I, on the other hand, took it upon myself to make sure that I had a tunnel going back and forth between the countries because back in 2017, I knew this was going to happen to our beloved country. I told many people for many years about our country turning into a dictatorship. I warned them about World War III. I even warned them about how one day the United States might go into a revolution, but nobody listened to me. Well, almost nobody. I had a few people that listened to me, more or less about 100. So I knew that I had to make sure that I had to take things. I had, so I knew I had to make sure that I had things ready just in case. I had to do it for them, for my kids. I had to make sure that they would be okay and be out of harm's way. I can't wait to see my children. I miss my girls so much. I didn't think that I would ever see them again. We get to the storage room, we get it unlocked, and the floor starts to open. We go down, and the elevator comes up. We put the bikes on the elevator. We start going down. We get to the bottom and see the tunnel of darkness. We hit the lights and see the railway. We load up the bikes and prepare to go to the other side. I remember exactly how I got the tunnel made from one side to the other side of the country. It was about 15 years ago, more or less. The Mexican drug cartels had taken over the town where my youngest daughter used to live. The cartels hang banners from hospitals and left dead bodies and body parts all over the hospital parking lot. The banner read in Spanish, "Ya estamos aquí, cabrones. Todo el que se ponga contra nosotros recibirá lo mismo." Translated in English, it said, "We're here, fuckers. Everyone that gets in our way will receive the same thing to them." At one time, at that time, I was somewhere in Germany. I was doing some Black Ops training in Frankfurt. I don't know what happened until 3 days later when my phone's voicemail was full of messages. As soon as I heard all the messages, I got on the first plane to Texas and drove to Piedras Negras as fast as I could because I wanted to make sure that my daughter was okay. At that time, Genesis was the only child that was in my existence. When I got to the Mexican border, the Mexican military would not let me cross because, according to them, the town was a war zone. I didn't care since I already had been in Iraq for almost a year and a half. Sure, you would think it's the same thing, but in reality, it's not. Drug cartels, are much more worse than the insurgents over here. The cartels like to be as barbaric as possible. I would learn this a few years later when I got into trouble with them for what happened the week I stayed with Genesis. I had a talk with the commanding officer on the Borders Military, and I told him that I was an American soldier and that I was only going to pick up my daughter for my wife and taking my daughter with me to Germany so she could be safe. The lieutenant told me that it was okay, but as long as I didn't try to do anything stupid, since they didn't need any more problems. I gave him my word that I would be good and I would be out of Mexico in the next 48 hours. I was driving down the road when, out of nowhere, there was an explosion. I saw smoke rising from a building ahead. The restaurant up ahead had blown up. I could see a truck driving away from the scene at top speed, since it was obviously the cartel that caused the explosion. I wanted to see if my daughter was okay, but I stopped to see if anybody was hurt. There were people running out of the building on fire. I just grabbed my jacket and I put the jacket on top of them to make sure the fire was out. I stopped 2 to 3 people from being on fire and ran to the building to help others that were unconscious. I took out about another 3 people out of there, including a 3-year-old child. I ran back in to see if the kitchen staff was okay, but I saw the back door open, so I figured they got out as soon as they could. I wasn't even mad at them, but some people can be selfish if they don't have the instincts to help others. And most times, people's first reactions are to save themselves. It's just animal instincts. I walked to the front to see the ambulance and a fire truck arrive. They asked me a bunch of questions in Spanish, and I just answered to the best of my ability. I get into the car, start driving again. I start thinking to myself how I would convince my ex-wife to give me custody of my daughter. I know that she won't give it up so easy, so I figure I'm gonna have to prove to her that Genesis needs to be with me. I drive until I see a roadblock and some Mexican soldiers having a shootout with some cartels at a residence street. I mean, seriously, these guys don't really care since things like this just show you that the Mexican drug cartels are vicious and they don't care who they hurt, just as long as their drugs get across the border and they get their profits. I drive around and see cars on fire, people running for their lives. I mean, it's literally a war zone in this neighborhood. My daughter's house is just 5 miles from here, and I hope to God that there's nothing happening over there. I drive until I get ran by a Mexican military truck, and then they get off and take me down from my car. My first thought was, good thing I got the international insurance since I was coming to Mexico anyway. They started asking me questions about why am I driving around and don't need to go where I need to be. I tell them that I haven't been in this town in about a year. I didn't know that it was like this. I just wanted to come and visit my daughter. They interrogated me some more. Then they got on their truck, backed up, and drove away since they saw that I was clean cut. I looked nowhere near the drug cartel profile. I get into my car and shake my headache off and start driving to my ex-wife's house. When I get there, I couldn't believe what I saw. So that's chapter 4. Chapter 4 is just a remembrance of basically where my character is just remembering where uh, when he's going to go see his daughter over in Mexico. And then in chapter 5, it's where he basically tries to take care of his daughter, tries to get her away from the ex-wife. Same as every other chapter in the book, they all start off with quotes. Chapter 5. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. A quote by Sigmund Freud. When I reached my ex-wife's house, Everything was okay. I could not have been gladder than when my daughter was born. I park and knock on the door. My father-in-law opens the door with a baseball hat. "Oh, Nicholas, it's you," he exclaims. "Hurry, come inside. It's too dangerous to be out here." I go inside and see the house is empty. "Where's everyone?" I ask. "They're in the back room safe," he proclaims. I came to see Genesis as soon as I heard about the cartels here in Piedras. As he opens the door to the back room, the sunlight shines into the room, and my daughter runs into my arms, claiming, "Papi, papi," which means daddy. My tears run down my face as I hear her call me daddy in Spanish. I was so happy to know that she was okay. And then the welcoming was short lived by an explosion about half a mile from the house. I immediately hug my daughter with all my might and tell her it's going to be okay. Then I look at my ex wife and tell her, "Elizabeth, it's time you give me my daughter so I can take her with me to Germany. It's not safe here anymore for her. Forget about our little squabbles and our little differences. Think about the safety of our child." She tells me, "Are you insane? I will never give her up. I would rather have her die than for you to take her away from me." I calmly tell her, "Please don't be this way. You must realize that no matter what, this place isn't safe for her or you or anyone else. I can't keep her safe until everything blows over and then you can have her back, I promise." "No," she yells at me. "If you want to keep her safe, then you should stay here with her for a while and protect her. If not, then just leave," she proclaims. "Fine, I will stay for a week. And if things get worse, then you must promise me that you won't hand her over and you will not fuss because remember, I am doing this for her, not for you. I will gladly give my life for her, not for you, and not anymore." I replied to her comment. My daughter looks at me with tears in her eyes and asks, "Am I in trouble, Daddy? Are you and Mommy fighting because of me?" I look at my daughter and I give her a broken smile. "No, my little princess, we're not fighting because of you. Remember, whatever happens between me and your mom is never your fault. Your mom just thinks that I want to take you away from her, but I just want you to go live with me for a month until the explosion stops you over here, sweetie," I tell Genesis. "That is a load of crap. You always wanted to take her away from me, but you will never have her," Elizabeth yells. I look at my daughter and she gives me a smile with tears in her eyes, and I can see that she knows that we're fighting over her, like two wolves over a piece of meat. She might be 8 years old, but she is smart like me. The windows rattle from the distant explosions. All this sounds, all these sounds, sorry, all these sounds sound too familiar. Sounds like war. Sounds like Iraq. I get into my soldier mentality and tell everyone that we have to leave the house and go someplace safe. But no one wants to leave. Everyone wants to stay because they are afraid of the explosions. Suddenly, we hear a helicopter fly over us. I run to the door to see in which direction it flies. It appears to go north. But why are they flying north? There are no entries into town from the north. If these cartels are coming from the south, then why are they attacking from the north? "Turn on the news, please," I tell my ex-wife. She turns on the TV and she puts it on the news. The live news report shows neighborhoods on fire, cars exploding, and shootouts with the Mexican soldiers and the cartels. "Elizabeth, I need you to tell me everything that has been happening for the past few months. Have there been any invasions from other cartels? Has there been a capture of high ranking cartel bosses? Have there been any other shootouts with military lately?" She looks at me confused and asks, "What does that have to do with anything?" I reply, "There are only a few reasons a group of people will take it this far. One, because someone has moved in on their territory. Two, because some high-ranking cartel boss was captured. Or three, because they just want to take control of the town since it is literally connected to the United States." She starts to think and says, "Now that you mention it, a month ago, one of the three main bosses was captured and put in the prison north from up here." Then it suddenly hit me. The prison is in the north of town. They're trying to they're trying to release the captured cartel from prison. If that happens, things are going to get worse. I can only hope that they don't succeed. I knew it. I knew that for some reason they had to be attacking to the north, or else it would be pointless if they hadn't already taken over the whole town. And another of the main bosses was killed in a shootout with the military. He was on his way here, but I guess he was on his way to visit the other boss in prison. But the main boss is in Michoacan. Supposedly, from the internet rumors, is that he controls the town where he lives in, and he has everyone paid off. And he's like a hero to them because he gives them money and food. My daughter's mother asked her response, "Well, I don't care about the rest of the bosses. The one here is the one that's the problem. Since he is in jail here, then that's going to mean that the rest of the cartel is going to come to this town and try to take it over or burn it to the ground just to make sure that the boss escapes until Max. So for now, I'm just going to sit back and hope that things don't go that way." I said they were because then I would literally have to take my daughter away from Elizabeth. She would be none too happy. Either way, if it doesn't go the way I said it would, at least I would have my at least I would have a week's vacation with my daughter. What's going on, everybody? Jacob Wright. Hey, how you doing? Listen, I'm just reading. I'm reading a couple of chapters from my book. Uh, I've fixed it up a couple of times. I've been turned down by maybe three publishers, and what's funny is that one of the publishers tells me, uh, one of the publishers tells me, uh, "You have a good story, but you're a bad writer." And what's funny is that uh, Jacob Wright, thank you for becoming a fan. Uh, the publisher tells me that I have a good story, but I'm a bad writer. And what's funny is that I tell the publisher, well, it's not like I'm gonna write a bestseller. The first time I write a book, it comes in. It needs to be it needs to be fixed. At least you could do is give me some pointers. But she tells me to sell my book, and have somebody else ghostwrite it. But I'm not gonna have somebody else take the credit for it. So this is why I'm actually doing this. I've been gone for about 2 weeks. Usually on Tuesdays, I read my book, one chapter every week. Wednesdays, I talk about supernatural stuff, ghost stories, and things like that. And then for Thursdays, I always talk about conspiracies and whatnot. Even though the conspiracy thing isn't a big thing anymore, not like back in the '90s and the early 2000s. Now it's just more like it's more of a hobby if you look them up. But I'm just here just to read my book. Please excuse me if you see me drinking or smoking a cigarette, but uh, Friday was 1 year anniversary of my mom's death, and I still can't believe that she's gone. It's just something that you just can't get used to. And she died like right where uh, everything was starting to get good. She died September 22nd, and in October she would always make a haunted house. She would turn her whole house into a haunted house, and then we had Thanksgiving together, and then we had Christmas together and New Year's, and then my daughter's birthday was on January the 6th, so that always came close too. But this is the first year where my mom didn't get to see my daughter for her birthday, or we didn't get to say Happy Mother's Day to her. She wasn't here to give me my birthday card like she always does every year. We didn't take her to her favorite restaurant for her birthday in August. It's just hard. I've been crying all day and getting sad, and I just I just can't believe that she's gone. That's the only reason that I do this book. I want this book to be published because I want her knowing that at least I was able to accomplish something. I she always told me, uh, we can video chat. I mean, I could put you right here, man. I mean, I can guess you here if you want. Uh, I mean, I don't think that would. Uh, I mean, right now I'm doing excuse me. Uh, I mean, we could do that. When I'm done here. Uh, I only got one more chapter to read, and I'll go ahead and get off. I was gonna do a short segment today. Uh, if you can bear with me, that's fine. Just uh, just let me finish the last chapter, the next chapter, and then uh, I mean, I can go ahead and video chat with you. I mean, I'm not one of those people that are so scared that so scared of people that are like, I don't know who this is, so I'm not gonna do it. I like meeting new people. All right. So, chapter 6, and as always, every single chapter of my book always starts off with a quote. And chapter 6 goes, "It is easier for a father to have children than for children to have a real father." And that was said by Pope John the 23rd. 2 days have passed by, and you can hear gunshots in the night. Sometimes during the day, helicopters fly every few hours. I convinced my ex to let Genesis stay with me at my house. She insisted that she stayed also. It's not like I'm going to kidnap my own child. I mean, I'm not as wicked as my father when he did the same thing to my mother when they were going through the custody battle of my sisters and me. One weekend, my sister went with my dad, and on Sunday we went to go pick up my sister. And my dad went out. My dad came out and told my mom that my sister decided to live with him instead. You could hear my sister yelling and crying inside the house, and we could see his girlfriend holding back my sister from running out of the house. My mom had called the police, but my sister said that she wanted to stay with my dad, and the police couldn't do anything about it. And then there was a 4-year custody battle after that. My daughter wakes up from me cooking breakfast, and my ex wakes up from the couch. "Good morning, Daddy," my daughter tells me with a groggy voice. I walk up to my daughter and pick her up and give her a good squeeze and say, "Good morning, my little princess. Breakfast is ready. Now, why doesn't my little baby girl go to the restroom, brush her teeth, and your banana smoothie will be ready in a minute?" Elizabeth walks into the kitchen and says, "I remember before she was born, you used to talk to me that way. You used to make me breakfast, and you would tell me to go brush my teeth, and my smoothie would be ready by the time I was done." I replied, "That was a long time ago, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. If you would have waited for me, then we would have still been together. But obviously, you didn't know how to wait." She gets angry and starts to raise her voice, and I stop her and I tell her to keep her voice down. And the restroom door opens up, and Genesis says, "I'm done, Daddy. Is my smoothie ready?" I reply, "Yes, it is, sweetie." I give her the smoothie, and she takes a sip and then a go. And you can see the smoothie mustache on her. And she laughs, and I ask her, "What's so funny?" She tells me, "It's funny because your smoothies are the best." I haven't had a smoothie in a long time, Daddy. I just smile at her, and her mom replies, Genesis, stop lying. We make you smoothies all the time, and you never finish them. Your grandma made you smoothies, and I have made you smoothies, but you always leave them on the table. You never finish them. She replies, well, it's because Daddy's smoothies taste so much better than your grandma's. I asked my daughter if she knew why my smoothies tasted so good, and still sipping, she shakes her head, and I tell her, when I was 10 years old, your great grandma, my grandmother, showed me how to make these smoothies. But it's not about the ingredients and how you make them. It's about who you are making them, who you're making the smoothies for. If it's for somebody that you care for but don't love, then obviously the smoothie doesn't come out right. But if you make something for someone that you truly love with all your heart, the food or the smoothie comes out a million times better. But you know that your grandma and your mom don't know how to cook, so that's why my food always comes out better. And Genesis laughs and says, yeah, mom only knows how to make rice. Grandma has to do the rest. Elizabeth barks at us. That's enough of you two. I will not be make fun of, neither would I let you make fun of my mom. I tell my ex, come on, she's just a child. We were just having fun. Besides, it's not like she was taking it serious. And Elizabeth walks out the door and sits outside. Eat your breakfast, sweetie, and then we'll go to the store and buy some meat so I can show you how to make a fire. When we go camping one day, you start the fire so we can be warm at night. She sits and starts eating her breakfast. I just look at my ex through the window and see that she is really mad. She never could take a joke. She reminds me of my dad. I always want to make fun of others, but can't make fun of her or anybody related to her. My cell phone rings, and I was surprised that I was actually able to get a signal in the house. Well, I'm in Mexico. American phones hardly ever work in Mexico. I answered the phone, and it was my Navy buddy Marcus. You okay? Is Genesis okay? Is she coming with you? He asked. Yeah, I'm okay. So is Genesis, and no, I don't think she is. Liz won't let her come with me. But if you ask me, to be honest, I think she wants me to take her with me, but her pride gets in the way. Besides, things over here are getting worse. It's not like Iraq. Over here, the cartels don't really care who they kill or what damage they do. They shot down a helicopter and blew up a restaurant. The neighborhood is practically on fire, and the military acts like they can't handle the situation. I think a few of them are on the payroll, I replied. Just because their military force is just because their military force isn't comparable to ours doesn't mean that they're on the payroll, he comments. It isn't that, Marcus. It's the little things that get my attention. For instance, they have shootouts in public, cars on fire, a cartel boss is in prison here in town, a helicopter got shot down, and a few buildings were blown up. And martial law hasn't been declared, I replied. Yeah, you may be onto something there. And I can't believe that after all that, the Mexican government hasn't done anything, says Marcus. Well, think about it. If the cartels are in charge and a lot of people on the payroll, the only people that would benefit from the payroll would be the police, the military, and the government officials. Listen, I have to go. I promised Genesis that I was going to teach her how to build a fire, military style. I told Marcus. He replies, seriously, Nicholas? You going to teach her that? Okay, man, have fun. I know she will. Call me if you ever need anything. If anything happens down there and you need me, you know that I got your back. I reply with a thank you and hang up. Genesis, it's time to go to the supermarket and buy food for dinner. We're gonna eat at the supermarket diner for lunch. She comes running out in her jean pants and her Chuck Taylors and the T-shirt that I bought that says "Don't mess with me. My dad is in the army." I'm ready, she says. Okay, then let's go walk into the store, I reply. The store is only 3 blocks away. It would feel better if I carried my 45, but I can't because then I would get in trouble with the police over here. So I always carry my knives because those are hard to spot on me. My daughter holds my hand, skips along the way, and her hair is flying everywhere. Last time I saw my daughter's hair was about past her shoulders. Now it's down to her back. I ask her, baby, when are you gonna get a haircut? She replies, never. I want to grow my hair long and then give it to grandma so she won't be bald anymore. I ask her, is your grandma losing her hair? She replies, not Nana. I meant Grandma Patty. She came to visit and she didn't have any hair because she says that she is sick and she has something called cancer and it's making her lose her hair. I stopped and stayed stunned. My mom never told me that she was coming to visit my daughter. If she did, I would have just sent her a plane ticket or paid for a car rental for her to come visit her. When did Grandma come visit you? I asked. Um, she came like a week or two ago. She bought me presents, and Grandma Nana and Grandma Patty were fighting because Nana didn't want Grandma in the house. But Grandma just pushed the door and came in. And it was funny because Nana almost fell, and Nana called her a bully. I laughed and replied, "Now I know why your grandma didn't tell me she came to visit you." Genesis comments, "Daddy, Mommy wanted to come, but she said that while you are here, she can't come with us because you won't let her. Is that true?" I reply, "Sweetie, your mom could have came with us, but she only wants to make me look like I don't let her come because I'm only here for a week. So she's just trying to make me look like a bully because I want you all to myself." My daughter smiles at me and says, laughing, "Daddy, you're not a bully, because then if you would be, then that would mean that Grandma's a bully." I laugh as we cross the parking lot. So that's the end of chapter 6. Uh, Chapter 7 and 8 it starts getting really intense. I I have maybe like 4 chapters that were just dedicated to my daughter. Uh, my daughter Genesis, she was my world, uh, and I don't have her. I've lost. I lost Genesis. I lost the twins. I lost my son. I'm only stuck. I only have 2 daughters left. And they're my oldest. And I love them to death. They. I always ask them if they can watch me on here, but they don't, and that's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. But you know, my book, my book is a complete dedication. Uh, my book is a complete dedication to my daughter Genesis and to my mother. So uh, Tuesday, Tuesday, I will pick up on chapter 7, and I will get people's feedbacks. Let's see if anybody. Let's see if anybody actually hears my books or anything. Yeah, I was just finishing the text right now. Uh, so yeah, you guys. Uh, Chapter 7 Tuesday, and on my YouTube, my on the Tuesday, I need to relabel them. I forgot. I need to relabel all my videos so I can know which one is which. Um, but I'll relabel them tomorrow. That way, so you guys can know which videos for the chapters of the book. You don't have to listen to the whole video. Just maybe like the first 15 minutes. It's just for the chapter of the book. That way, so you guys can catch up if you guys decide to. So take care, everyone. Jacob, I will Snapchat you in a second. Uh, Everyone else out there, you guys stay safe. Don't drink too much, and if you do, make sure you just drink at home. Stay at home. Uh, and if you're drinking at a friend's house, at least you could do is just spend the night while It's not that hard to pick up the phone and tell people that, you know, tell your boyfriend, girlfriend, parents, whatever, you're gonna stay at somebody's house, or taxi, Uber, all these, they're all out there now. Take it easy, you guys.